Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is planning a final ribbon for your final ribbon project. Please gather all of the supplies that you will need. They will either be in front of the room or I will have them passed out by other students. I want you to research first. That could mean you go to Google and you put in how to draw a ribbon, how to draw a scroll, how to draw a banner. Maybe you'll go to YouTube and look for videos. Maybe you'll go to Pinterest and look for ideas. But I want you to do some research so that you can get ideas about what you want your final drawing to look like. But that also means to take sloppy copy paper and to practice. Now, I didn't have cut paper here, but you will have the different sizes of sloppy copy paper for you to practice on. Turn them both vertical and horizontal. Practice doing different kinds of ribbons. Remember, you want to have at a minimum 2 bends, and you should not have any ribbons that look like bacon. I want you to really be confident about what the ribbon's going to look like before you go to your final paper. And if that's all you get to today, that's fine. Now, you should have already seen the video on setting a ground, which is applying that light layer of pencil to the background, or you should remember it from the demonstrations. So make sure you have that paper ready with your name and code on it. And then as soon as you're ready, you go ahead and you draw that ribbon, whether it's with the double pencil or whether you hand draw the ribbon. Either one is totally up to you. And again, you must have at minimum 2 bends. Now, if you're doing the double pencil ribbon, you're going to take your ruler and you're going to complete or close the beginning and the end of the ruler. And then you're going to go to all of the bends and make sure that you line up the outer edge of both of those bends or the double U's of the bends. And you want to connect them with your ruler with a light line. Please take your time in doing this. You don't want them to be too far away or too close. And then since you're the artist, you have to make a decision about how you want your ribbon to bend, So that's going to determine what overlap line you're going to erase. Then you're going to go ahead and erase your overlap lines. If you are drawing a ribbon, a scroll, a banner freehand, then you also need to take the time to make sure that if there's any incorrect areas, overlaps, or things that you don't want before you start shading, that you make all of those corrections. And here you can see that I'm pointing out the various places where I'm going to erase a specific overlap line because I want my ribbon to bend in a specific way. Now, you'll notice within the video that there are times when I have put the speed on double, so it'll kind of go through everything really quickly. And then there's times when it'll slow down, when I want you to take your time and pay attention. As always, you can always stop the video at any point, rewind it, and check out anything that you need to in order to understand what's going on. The next point is you have to determine the light source, which means on your paper, you're going to put a small arrow wherever the light is coming from. Usually I'll say it's either going to come from the right or from the left. For this particular ribbon, I'm going to make the lights come from the right. Here, the light is coming from the left. Here, the light is coming from the left also. I can't remember if I got the first one from the right or not, and if I didn't, I apologize if I confused you. For this ribbon, I put the light source on the right side. So that means on the opposite side, on the left side of all of the ribbon, will be the shadows. Now, I like to erase the highlights first, but you can start shading the shadows first if you really wanted to. So whenever possible, I'm going to use the vinyl eraser, and when the vinyl eraser is too big, I'm going to use my pencil eraser. And because we set a ground on the paper, the highlight should really pop. You should be able to see it right there. So I have to check every bend, and I have to think and say to myself, is the light hitting this bend directly, or is this in the shadow? So sometimes you'll have the bends facing the shadow, sometimes you'll have the inside facing the shadow. All throughout the video and while you're working, you're going to make corrections. Sometimes that means you're kind of redrawing overlap lines that maybe have gotten erased. Sometimes that means adding in a little bit of pencil to the air or the space around the ribbon to darken it because you've erased too much. So sometimes, like here, I'm adding a little bit of shadow to the ground, to the background a little bit, but then it ended up being too dark, so then I have to take a kneaded eraser and gently press around and remove that extra pencil. The next step would be to go ahead and start shading in the shadows. You're going to notice I'm going really slow here. I'm going to use circlism, so I'm going to do the small rotation really close up to the edge where the bend begins. And then as soon as I'm out of that little tiny area, I'm going to start following the curve out with my pencil, and I'm going to start shading from dark to medium to light. So I'm going to do a value scale from the darkest area outward, from dark to medium to light. Now, if you notice here, I'm going to start scumbling, which is that kind of really quick, fast, almost messy shading approach. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I know that I'm going to eventually blend it with my blending tool, so I'm not really too worried about the technique looking perfect at this point. I just want to be able to show you and get some shading into the various areas on the ribbon. And again, some of the places are in double speed, so I would not be normally going that quick. I would really be taking my time on a final project. And just as a quick review again, I erase out highlights, I add in shadows, I'll go back in with a kneaded eraser to make corrections or with my blending tool. And then at a certain point, when I feel like I can't really get any darker with a regular pencil or with a mechanical pencil, I'll go ahead and I will also use a ebony shading pencil to add in those darker areas. I don't expect that you start on your final project today, but if you did want to begin, at least you have this video to hopefully give you a good guideline of how to start. Thank you, and just continue watching till the end.